out here to condemn these atrocities and violence. It's because we are Jews. It's because we follow the Ten Commandments. It's because we are forbidden to kill and to steal. That's why we stand up here and in many other cities to condemn this violence and atrocities. It's because we are Jews that our tradition teaches us not to rebel against any nation, especially those nations who are so gracious to us. That's why we stand up and we condemn these terrible acts of the Zionists. It's because we are Jews. It's because we are faithfulity. That's why all religious leaders from the very beginning so vehemently opposed that philosophy of Zionism. It's because we are Jews. It's because our parents and grandparents, leaders and rabbis were killed and tortured in the Holocaust. That's why we stand up and we are so upset when this is being done to others. It's because we are human beings. It's because we are the creation of the Almighty. Therefore we are so upset when we see women and children being killed and we see God's creation being destroyed. And let me tell you, you just mentioned before, you ignorant Zionist across the street. You mentioned before in Yiddish language, and you said that the Israelis are looking for peace. Let me tell you what peace the Israelis are looking for. That's that peace one of our leaders described once. That's the peaceful occupation you are looking for. Are you speaking in Yiddish because you are religious? How ignorant are you? It's your teachers, it's your rabbis, it's your tradition that oppose Zionism. If you are ignorant, please do your homework properly. It's the tradition. And to my Muslim and pro-Palestinian brothers I say, don't you think that the Palestinians are the only ones being oppressed under this terrible regime of the Zionists? It's my brethren in Jerusalem, in occupied Palestine, who terribly suffer under the hands of this terrible regime of Israel. It's our people who consider themselves to be Jewish Palestinian refugees. They escape from the state of Israel whenever they can to be saved and not to suffer under that terrible regime of Israel. It's Jewish people worldwide who face intimidation from that wicked philosophy and movement of Zionism. And we need to remember to clarify that confusion that the Israelis are trying to do all the time. They would try to confuse Judaism with Zionism. They would try to present themselves as the representation of all Jews and maybe as the representation of the Jewish religion. That is not only false, that is tragic, that's embarrassing. And may you understand that when they do that, they want the Palestinian people to hate all Jews. They want Palestine to fight against all Jews. But may I tell you, I visited Gaza twice since the siege with a delegation of Jewish rabbis. Many participants here, in the non-Jewish participants here in this demonstration joined us together. Let me tell you what Ismail Haniyeh, the Prime Minister of Hamas, told us. We have nothing against the Jewish people, but against the occupation. Palestinians are looking for war. And don't you say that the Israelis are looking for peace. Don't you think that the conflict we experience today, and for several years already and for decades, that this simply began recently or several years back, or maybe 63 years back. This is a old history. This is a history of Zionists who came up to Palestine in the beginning of the 20th century. We lived in peace. The Palestinians lived in peace with the Jewish people, the indigenous population of Palestine. We don't need a state of Israel to protect the Jewish people. And we don't need a state of Israel to save the Middle East. The greatest destruction we find today in Palestine, in the Middle East, and the greatest danger in the world is caused by the state of Israel and the philosophy of Zionism. Let's all pray for humanity. And I would add to those ignorant Zionists across the street, when we see bloodshed today, sad and terrible to all of us, we see bloodshed on all sides, who should we blame? We saw a nice coexistence in Palestine before. Why is this happening to us? Why is this catastrophe befalling our peoples from all sides? We don't point our fingers to the Zionists who destroyed this coexistence that did take place before. We don't need a state of Israel. This is the greatest catastrophe for Palestine, for the Jewish people, for the Middle East, and for the world at large. Let's pray for the suffering people in Gaza. Let's pray for the displaced people of Palestine. Let's pray for the Jewish people in danger and for the world in this terrible time where we find ourselves. Let's pray for the peaceful and speedy dismantlement of this illegitimate state of Israel. Let's hope that this would disappear peacefully without suffering of anyone. And at that time we sincerely hope that the peace that did exist prior to this political nationalistic movement which has nothing to do with the Jewish people as a whole, nothing to do with Jewish religion. At that time, hopefully we will be able to see that beautiful peace once again. And let's hope this would be very soon in our lifetime. And let's pray all together, ultimately for the revelation of the glory of the Almighty to be revealed throughout the universe, when all humanity would serve the one God together in peace and harmony. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum. Judaism, yes. Zionism, no.
Judaism, yes. Zionism, no.
The state of Israel must go.
The state of Israel must go.
Judaism, yes. Zionism, no. The state of Israel must go.
The state of Israel must go.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Think little boys are throwing stones at tanks, and we'll never really know how many people are dead. They drop bombs on innocent girls while they sleep in their bed. Don't get offended by facts, try and listen. Nothing is more anti-Semitic than Zionism. So please don't bring bad vibes when you speak to me. There's plenty of rabbis that agree with me.